Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Expression of Cognac through Terroir, Distillation and Aging webinar. My name is Dan Nicolaescu, and I'm the beverage director at the Brandy Library and Copper and Oak, both bars located in New York City. I am also a certified Cognac educator with the Bureau National Interprofessionnel du Cognac. I would also like to introduce our esteemed guests to you today. Bénédicte Hardy, which is the brand ambassador and area director for the Americas for Hardy Cognac. Alexandre Quintin, Maison Rémy Martin, head of international ambassadors. Sullivan, global brand ambassador for BNIC Cognac. And David Boileau, director of education with Bureau National Interprofessionnel du Cognac. Bénédicte, would you like to say a few words about yourself?
Well, it's always difficult to talk about yourself. I'd rather talk about your mustache, which is still spectacular, my dear. Talking about yourself, well, what can I say? I was born and raised in the cognac business, even though I turned bad because I became a lawyer and decided to join the family business later on. And my goal has been really to establish the name of my company and my family brand for many years. And the country that I chose was the United States. So I have no regret to say today that with the little name that we have, I mean, we have tried to promote and really educate people about our cognacs.
Thank you. Alexandre, would you like to say a few words about yourself?
Thank you, Dan. Thank you. What I would say is that I've been in this business for many years, 14 years at the house of Rémy Martin, and I started as an ambassador for the house, but I was an ambassador even before I got paid for it, because my initial background is bartending, and as a bartender back in 2003, I was invited to visit the house of Rémy Martin, and that's where I fell in love with the cognac region, with this amazing liquid, and with also the town, the people that are making this amazing liquid, and so since then I was promoting those amazing cognacs, and I've been working with the cellar master, with many people around the world to find new ways of enjoying cognac, from cocktails to cigars to all sort of ways. So I'm a bit of an Epicurean, and the best part of the job is to exchange with people around beautiful liquid. So that's what I've been doing and enjoying doing so.
Excellent, thank you. Sullivan?
Yeah, hi everybody. So my name is Sullivan. I'm the global brand ambassador for BNIC Cognac. I've been in the position for like a bit more than a year and a half, but before that I've been bartending for more than 10 years. And I did notice that cognac was lacking in the back bars of most of the bars that I worked. So I decided to open my first bar in 2014 called the Syndicat, which was the very first cocktail bar using only French alcohol in order to promote the diversity we have in France. And just like keep on like promoting cognac. I actually became a cognac educator 3 years ago, and then moving to being ambassador for one specific brand, which is BNIC Cognac.
Excellent, thank you. David?
Thank you, Dan. As Bénédicte, I was born in Cognac, long time ago now, and I'm in charge of the development of culture Cognac since 15 years now, and the objective is, as Alexandre said, share passion, look for new things, and have a very good time. I have a chance to share my time with beautiful people as you, and it's a very good chance. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. So today we will cover 3 topics. We'll cover the topic of terroir, we'll cover the topic of distillation and maturation. But first of all, what is cognac? Well, cognac is actually 2 things, at least. One of them, it is an area. The second, it is a beverage. As an area, it is located in southwest France, right above Bordeaux, along the coast of the Atlantic Ocean. It is really a very, very short train ride, maybe about 2.5 hours from Paris. As a beverage, it is a distilled spirit made out of wine, made out of grapes that are cultivated in a very well-defined and law-protected area. Let's have a look at a short video. So let's talk a little bit about terroir. We do have 6 crus in cognac. The first one being Grand Champagne, we have Petit Champagne, Borderie, Bon Bois, Fin Bois, and Bois Ordinaire. The region enjoys a coastal climate with warm summers and mild winters. Due to the proximity of the Atlantic Ocean, we also have rain frequently, which really aids with the irrigation of the vines. The soils of the region are mostly composed out of clay and limestone, which is really ideal for the growing of the white grape varietal called Uni Blanc. Harvest happens at the end of the summer, the end of September, sometimes beginning of October, and then we're going to have vinification. During vinification, we are looking for 2 very, very, very important elements. One of them is that the wines should have low alcohol in order to preserve all the compounds, the aromatic compounds in the wine. The second is that we are looking for something that has high acidity to act as a natural preservative. It is very important to understand that the winemaker's skill is absolutely primordial for this process, as the wines have to be technically flawless. Now, would you, Bénédicte, please tell us what type of crus and why would you choose the eau de vie from this particular crus in your cognacs?
Well, when you're the 5th generation of a family in a company that has been in this business, you don't exactly select by yourself. You try to continue the tradition and the way your ancestors have chosen for you. I think the great difficulty, and I'm sure it's true for my colleagues, is to keep the style of the house. Well, at Hardy, and I have right behind me a bottle of Fin Champagne cognac that was made by my grandfather just after the Second World War. And in respect for his style, at Hardy, we basically use primarily Grand and Petit Champagne crus, Borderie and Fin Bois. Most of our products for many years were Fin Champagne. As our distinguished audience will know, when you say Fin Champagne, it designates a blend of only 2 crus, which is Grand and Petit Champagne exclusively. That's what my family and my company, after we were not only family, decided to continue. So basically, I would say 60% of what we sell today is Fin Champagne. It is true for our VSOP, and it is true for our XO and up. Over 30 years of aging on our primary, I mean the high grades, the upper grade qualities, after 30 years of age, we only use Grand Champagne for the longevity and the quality of the eau de vie after such long age. But we're very fortunate to carry also an organic cognac today, which has been a challenge, as you know. And for this organic, we chose some wine growers that were located really in areas that were not only Grand and Petit Champagne. And we have this beautiful Borderie, and we have an amazing Fin Bois to add. So basically, I would say, just to sum it up, the heart of the region is where really we focus. We do not use Bon Bois and Bois Ordinaire like Highland Park in Scotch will tell you. They don't use the Lagavulin area. They don't go for some very different and distinguished taste that they don't want to find in their cognac. So nothing wrong with that. It's just that the style of the Hardy House was defined long before I came into the business.
Thank you. Alexandre, would you like to say a few words on this topic, please?
Yes, so terroir is very, very important. Terroir, when you talk about terroir, you talk about the subsoil, you talk about the climate, you talk about the know-how, you talk about also what are the grapes that you are going to use. And Rémy Martin, you know, it was founded by a wine grower. And so we have our own vineyards, and we work, all of them are situated in Grande Champagne, but we also, all the Rémy Martin cognac are cognac fin Champagne, like Bénédicte just mentioned, so situated at the heart of the cognac region. This is a decision that was taken in 1927, and even the last Rémy Martin was making some in 1898, so very, very long time ago. The whole idea with those crus is that is to get a style, a unique aromatic intensity. However, you need more time for those crus to reveal themselves, everything they have to offer on the tasting, and that's why we don't do VS. We start in Rémy at VSOP, and we go up like this. And as you go up, you have more and more Grand Champagne in that blend, which is the one that gives eau de vie with a lot of elegance, finesse, and richness. So just yes, again, these are, you know, very important for the style of the house, and it starts with the soil, with the grapes, yeah, all the way to the tasting 10, 30, 40, 50 years later.
Great. Sullivan?
So as for Doucet, so just for you to know, like Doucet is a young brand. We've been created like in 2012, which is super young in the cognac family, in the cognac category. And Michel Casavecchia, the cellar master, when he created the brand, he wanted to have a cognac that is like basically like the modern expression of cognac. And he wanted something that was like elegant and get this fineness that you could find in the Grand and Petit Champagne. But he wanted as well to have like the robustness, like I would say like the fruitiness and the texture, the terroir notes that you can find in the Bombois and in the Frambois. So basically Doucet is based on both of those, not both, like Grand Champagne, Petit Champagne, Frambois and Bombois, because all those terroirs work together to give an expression of cognac that is enjoyable by itself as a traditional cognac, and that shines through cocktail. As Alexandre, as Rémy Martin, we do start with a VSOP to have like this complexity in terms of flavors.
Excellent, thank you. David?
Yes, to conclude on this item, very essential, as said Alexandre, without terroir, no cognac, without grape, no cognac. And this fabulous diversity of terroir, which give each house the possibility of finding its own style, its own profile. That's why we don't speak about one cognac, but cognacs, because each cognac is different. It starts with the soils.
Thank you. So let's talk a little bit about distillation. Distillation starts at the beginning of October and by law has to end at the end of March. The wines are distilled in pot stills twice, and the pot stills are heated by direct fire. This is it takes considerable skill to be able to distill with direct fire, and this is in stark contrast with other spirits categories. For example, whiskey, which most of it is distilled with steam. It takes 9 liters of wine to produce 1 liter of eau de vie. The human factor, it is indispensable in this particular process, as every single decision is being taken after smelling and tasting the eau de vie coming off the still. We have a multitude of questions to ask ourselves and opportunities during this time. Questions as, should we distill on the lees? Should we distill off the lees? Should we distill a spirit that is going to be matured for a short period of time or a longer period of time? I would like to ask our esteemed panelists to chime in regarding this process. Bénédicte?
Well, what is very interesting for Hardy is that the fact that we don't own vineyards allows us to work with a co-op behind us with at least 200 wine growers, most of them owning their own pot stills. And which is crucial. It's not my role, but it's the cellar master, Michael Bouilly, who is the one selecting the little wine samples. And as you said prior, Dan, What is very important is the quality of the ingredients that you're going to distill. The great advantage of having this panel of distillers allow us to select very carefully the way we want our product to be distilled. For sure, we distill with lees. I mean, it has been done much before I came on board at Hardy. My grandfather was using the lees. He enjoyed that very much. He thought it was giving more texture to the product. And this is what we request. The great advantage of having a wonderful blender like we do have, Michael, is really to go, first of all, select the wine samples, then select the distillate products. I mean, when it's done at 71, 72% alcohol. And as you said, from the get-go, it knows which one will age and which one will not, which is very interesting because not every cognac can wait 30 or 40 years or more. And as you know, particularly in the United States, the majority of what we sell is definitely VS and VSOP. Some of our great leaders, you know, like the Hennessy with their VS and Rémy with their VSOP are really leading, and Doucet with their VSOP. So there's no question that we need this distillation to be very precise and very carefully directed the way our blender wants, because he will need the best quality to do the assemblage, to do the blending when the cognacs reach a certain age. So distillation, this pastille is a marvelous invention. If you look at the swan neck, if you look at the quality of the copper, and I would strongly encourage any of our viewers today to come during the distillation process, which starts basically when the harvest is just finishing, which is basically now, until the end of March. Very few people know that if you don't respect this timing, the distillation process stops on 31st of March. And if, unfortunately, you distill on 1st of April, well, your product cannot be called cognac. And that's why cognac will and is the benchmark of the brandy industry.
Absolutely. Thank you. Alexandre?
Thank you, Dan. Well, when we talk about distillation, you know, you have to, again, you know, go back to a quality grapes, quality wine. And then from there, at Rémy Martin, it's historical as well. We keep with the tradition, and we've always been distilling on the lees from our own vineyards, but also from our partners. And I was talking to the cellar master today about the distillation, because he's been giving advice to the growers. The reason we have our own vineyard as well is that we can advise the growers of, you know, being a pilot and try new things about the respect on of the environment, but also the search for excellence. And what he's telling me is definitely distilling on the lees give us more richness. You know, those fatty acids, fatty components give a lot of beautiful aromas and texture of that eau de vie when it comes out of the pot still, which all this is done by man, you know, when they're choosing to do the cuts, yeah, the head, the heart, the tail. Well, all this is, if you go to a distillery in the region, right, that's going to start very soon now, you'll have all these beautiful aromas, and the men are going to do those cuts, the master distiller. And the fact that you have an eau de vie that is very rich, that gives all these beautiful peach, pear aromas with texture, thanks to the lees, you'll have the eau de vie is going to be able to age much longer. And again, when you age is when more aromas are created, yeah, because of the contact with the wood. So it's very important to have an eau de vie with an amazing aromatic potential from day one, in order to later on, with aging, with blending, to be able to reach an amazing cognac.
Thank you, Alexandre. Sullivan?
Yeah, actually, this is really interesting because the three houses in the panel are distilling on the lees. So yes, so same thing with Michel Casaveca. I like to distill over the lees because of this texture and all this. I would like to say, like, bring some kind of fattiness to the cognac. All this mouthfeel that you can have in the Doucet come from the distillation over the lees. And when it comes for the coupe, the way we cut the eau de vie, every year, the result is the harvest is different. So the wine is different. So there's always different way of distilling. So Michel goes to all the wine growers and master distillers we're working with to calibrate the way he's going to cut this batch. And yeah, as you said, like that's a human factor. The human factor is really important because like it's all about like nosing and tasting. Like you don't really taste straight from the alembic because there's like 72 ABV. It's quite strong. But like just the nose, that's something that a machine cannot really replace. I mean, like will never replace. And that's what is beautiful in cognac because you really need the human factor in the distillation process and in the aging. But we will see this in a minute. So yeah, we do distill over the lees to get this structure and this smoothness and roundness.
Thank you, David.
Yeah, to conclude with this item distillation, it's concentration. We look for the best things of the wine. And lees, without lees, it's so many potentiality to express different quality. And for me, it's for the master seller, what the color palette is for the painter.
Okay, great. Thank you. Now, the eau de vie, the spirit comes off the still clear. So how does it become cognac? It becomes cognac through maturation in oak casks. Here again, we have several options at our disposal. Are we going to use new casks or previously used casks? What is going to be the size of these particular casks? Are we going to employ casks that are made with wood with a tight grain or a white grain? Are we going to mature these particular casks in dry or wet cellars? Cask management is very active, with the spirit being moved from cask to cask periodically and moved also around the cellar for different microclimates. After maturation for at least 2 years, the spirit becomes cognac. At 2 years of age, it becomes VS, which stands for very special. At 4 years of age, it becomes VSOP, which stands for very special, old and pale. If we choose to mature for longer than 10 years, it becomes XO, also known as extra old. We do have some phenomenon that is called angel share, which is actually evaporation from the cask. To give you an example, if we take 10 casks of cognac right now, and we choose to mature those 10 casks for 10 years, we're gonna lose approximately 2 of them to evaporation. Would our guest please talk a little bit about the maturation of the products? Bénédicte?
Well, in our case, our blender and master seller cellar master is absolutely adamant about using only brand new oak to start the life of the cognac. He compares very quickly and very easily young cognac to children. And he says, if you want to raise a children in good health, he has to have the right nourishment, the right food. Well, you have to consider oak, and we use limousine oak over troncé. That's our style. We like larger grain instead of tighter grain. So we lose more for evaporation. This beautiful and poetically speaking angel share is the nightmare of any CFO because it's a lot of money that evaporates.
It's a devil's share, actually.
Exactly, and it is at the same time a very necessary component in the fact that the concentration and what evaporates is not the best, and what stays in the barrel is the best. So after we distill with the lees, after the selection, when we do a VS, when we age a VS at Hardy, the VS is aged 3 years, not 2, because we like to add an extra year to the aging. And out of these 3, 2 years in brand new oak and in a humid cellar to start. But the extra year will be in a dry cellar. So when we make that choice, we go for more evaporation, but more concentration. And it's so obvious when you bring the cognac back after the 3rd year, that's the color is there. The beautiful natural caramel color comes forward and it's ready to be sold. On the VSOP, we exactly do the same thing, more age, as you explained, but what we do is that we keep the brand new cognac, the cognac we have selected to become a VSOP, only 14 months in brand new oak, knowing that it will have extra time to spend in older barrels, the barrels that we call roux, because they're already aged. We're not looking at the same characteristics in the aging. We're just looking at less evaporation and more flavors. And it's the same for XO. So definitely for us, brand new oak at the beginning, limousine oak, and then making sure we rotate and use older barrels to bring more finesse and more elegance to the product.
Thank you. Alexandre?
Yeah, so what's interesting, again, us too at Rémy, we carry on with tradition, and we are using a large grain limousine oak barrel. Yeah, why? Because the limousine forest is just down the road, so we've been doing that for almost 300 years. It made sense, but now when we analyze the wood and the exchange, when you want to make some very old cognac, you have this give and take, which worked perfectly for us. We have at Rémy Martin, we're lucky to have done the choice of fine champagne a long time ago, and today we have the largest stock of fine champagne cognac in the world. And so the job of the cellar master is to look after all this diversity of eau de vie. We have over 30 different cellars. Some are dry, some are humid, and he's going to play with all these different casks, from different cellars. In order, so everything is different because Mother Nature gives us different things every year, but he's going to play with all this panel to be able to compose cognacs that are very, very rich, very complex, very aromatic. And this large stock also enables him to recreate year after year this complexity, so that the Rémy Martin VSOP your father bought, or the one that your son will buy, or the XO of tomorrow is the same quality. So this is also very important for a great brand like Rémy Martin to be not just excellence, but to be consistent in excellence. That's the the aging and blending is really an art, and that's the cellar master who is in charge of this, and he's the guardian of the temple, the guardian of the Rémy Martin style. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Sullivan?
Yeah, another common point we have, we all use limousine wood to make our barrels. So same thing, Michel likes to have those big ground, to have a really nice interaction between the wood and the cognac, the eau de vie, because as long as it doesn't spend a minimum of 2 years, it's not cognac. So we will have let's say 15% of brand new barrels. And the thing is that you call it brand new until it passed 5 years, because that's the moment that the tannin doesn't get into the wine, the eau de vie anymore. So there's no exchange, but that's a perfect cask to age because of the pores that you have in the wood. So you have your barrel that's gonna stay, the eau de vie that's gonna stay for I would say a year and a half to get all those wood components. And then you'll put another eau de vie, another brand new eau de vie inside. And this for 5 years. That's where you're gonna get all the color. And then you put your eau de vie into another barrel that's as Bénédicte was saying, the barrel roux, the ginger. Can we say ginger? I don't know how we say that in English, the old barrel.
Red, maybe you can say red.
I don't know. That'd be interesting to translate that. And then you let just the eau de vie breathe by itself, have the interaction with the air through the wood. The particularity of the Chateau de Cognac, where this thing is made, is that we have 2 types of cellar within our walls. We have imagine this chateau has been created about 1,000 years ago. So we have really big, thick stone walls, about 3 meters wide, and this will allow us to have around at the same level of the water, those humid cellar with about 80 to 85% of constant humidity. And this humid cellar will bring some fruitiness through the aging, while the eau de vie that we put in the dry cellar will bring more the spiciness, all the woody notes. What is interesting is in the humid cellar, you will have the angel share will be focused more on the alcohol, while in the dry cellar is more the water that will evaporate. So blending those two eau de vie, those two cellars will create the identity that you say is today. And yeah, I mean, like, what I wanted to add is like, yeah, so you have like Grand Champagne, Petit Champagne that will be like more the eau de vie that will keep like in a dry cellar to have like this longest way of like aging to get to extract all the aromas. And actually our XO, the Distillation XO, as most of the product will be like from the humid cellar, because we want this fruitiness. All the fresh fruit that you would have in the VSOP would be more like confit in the XO. And this combination is just like what the Chateau can allow us to have.
Thank you. David?
Yes, it's beautiful to hear things like that. For me, aging, blending, it's an art. It's two arts, very complementary. In cognac, we consider time as a raw material, because without time, it's not possible to have cognac. We love angels, because without us, it's not possible to produce so magnificent produce as XO extra and so on. Just an amazing things, and thanks a lot for these beautiful things.
Thank you. Blending cognacs, it is a highly skilled profession, which requires a very long training, a very acute olfactory and gustative sense, and also a very deep understanding on how different cognacs interact with each other. It is a skill that is passed from generation to generation through a lot of practical work. There are no books on blending cognac. That's why all these blenders are always held in really high esteem. As a final note, I would like to ask our panelists to tell us something about the unique characteristic that old cognacs develop after long maturation, which is
Rancio.
Rancio Charente.
Rancio, yes.
Tell us a little bit about it. Bénédicte?
Who starts? Bénédicte, yes. Well, Rancio is a very unique thing. How could it explain that? It is a blend, it's a little oily. Some people say that it smells like mushroom, like the wood, you know, in the fall, like something oily, something nutty. And I think for me, that's really one of the characteristics of what really cognac, old cognac tastes like. For me, they also taste like spices, you know, the cinnamon, the cardamom, the saffron. That's what you find in old cognacs. And it makes the product so long in the mouth. I mean, so the longevity, the way it fills up your mouth and it stays on your palate forever. This is a great, you know, of course, we need many years to reach that. And as David said, there is no cognac without aging. I know that the majority of cognac sold in the world is in the VS and VSOP categories. But if any of you listening tonight have time and the envy of discovering something so spectacular, go for XO, go for hors d'âge, go for extra, because you will find a unique experience that very few spirits in the world can offer. And this Rancio that we discuss is part of what definitely we define with the cognac aging.
Thank you. Alexandre?
Well, Rancio, the beauty, it's something completely unique to the cognac region, and us, we're lucky at Rémy Martin. We have Louis XIII, you know, which is an icon of luxury, but also an icon for the Rancio itself. So you will have those amazing aromas of things like you know, wax, honeyed, leather, tobacco, you know, like Cuban cigars. So all these notes that are almost vivid, almost like skin that you can touch, and the smell is it's stunning. If you can go and go down a cellar with eau de vie, which that was been there for almost centuries, you will know what Rancio means, because it captures the whole essence And then when you taste a glass of Lutrez, then you really understand it, because you have this explosion of aromas. It's at the same time as being light, being floral and super elegant. You have also this rich, this essence that, you know, capture your heart and guts as well. So yeah, that's François.
Yeah, and I second my peers. Like the beauty of François is like you need to at least wait for 10 years to get this this layer of aromas developed, and having it like over the years keep on like bringing new aromas. It's just beautiful. That's the beauty of cognac, because like it just keep evolving through the years. There is something that I like in the Douce XO is that you have this smell of like blue cheese as well, that I think is like really specific to the Rancio and the humid cellar we have, and yeah, all the floral notes, the spiciness. I mean that's like a major component of all cognacs.
Okay, thank you, David.
Yes, Rancio, it's the expression of time, another way. For me, it's the perfect balance between the aromas, oxidation, perfect dry fig. It's a perfume. Without alcohol, it's the expression of the art of cognac, the wellness and the perfect balance between all the aromas without alcohol.
I would like to thank our panelists for sharing their best knowledge today with us. I would also like to thank our attendees for being with us today. We have greatly preferred to have the opportunity to meet everybody in person. However, unfortunately, we have some current events that made this not possible. We are, however, looking forward to meet everybody in person sometime soon. In the meanwhile, if there are any questions regarding this presentation or any questions about cognac in general, please address them to our virtual booth. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yes.
Santé. Santé.
Thank you, Dan.
My pleasure.
Always good and smooth.
Yes, and we wish everybody would share with us. That would be a wonderful experience.
We need to share.
Best wishes from Cognac.
Yes, very best. Very best from
Santé.
Cognac. Bye-bye.
Bye.